Lamborghini American Challenge, released in 1994-ish for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, courtesy of Titus. Yes, that Titus, look at it run away quickly. Is a racing game where you pick one of 3 available drivers with different colored Lamborghinis, and you race against other Lamborghinis in order to make money, earn points, and get upgrades to your car in order to step up in the world. Yep, that about covers it. So you roam around this map of the good old US of and click on yellow stars to choose races to actually race in. Each race has an entry fee you have to pay in order to participate, and so races with entry fees out of your budget are represented by red stars and are thus unselectable. On top of that, races with rival drivers also include a gambling component where you can bet X number of dollars on your performance. So winning first place not only gives you the top prize in the race, but also a bonus pot of funds, which really helps in your funding your career in illegal street racing. Now the gambling function is an option you could turn off, but it does add flavor to an otherwise pedestrian racing game, and you make a little more money, which is always the most important thing in a game like this. Also, a feature you can alter is the number of nitro boosts you can use for a temporary burst of speed. The rest of it is all up to you. You pick your races, you win them, you spend a little money on repair and parts while saving some for race entry. Avoid getting caught by police cruisers and radars if you don't want to pay a fine, which if you're out of money or you can't afford to race anymore, the game ends. Now fortunately, your progress is saved via long-ass password at the bottom of the screen, so write that down kids and try to deal with the interface at hand. Lamborghini American Challenge, from my understanding, an updated version of a previously released racer on the home computer formats of the time called Crazy Cars 3. Yes, I can see why they changed the name. A racing game much in the vein of games like Lotus or Top Gear, driving around a realistic car against other realistic cars in an ongoing track. Prior experience with those Top Gear and Lotus games have been generally favorable around my part. And I'm happy to say that Lamborghini American Challenge joins that particular echelon of fun little racing games. Which I'm sure will shock people who only know Titus for their less than stellar offerings on more advanced hardware. But yeah, this is a genuinely enjoyable little racing game. I like the idea of joining races and betting pools to increase your profits. The concept of being chased and ticketed by police for speeding is a novel concept that the later Need for Speed series would later adopt and refine. There's some weather patterns you could have to adjust to, ice physics and night driving for example, with the latter even including little night lights a la Enduro for the Atari 2600. Bit of a odd comparison, but there you go. The shop mechanic is a nice touch, even if it doesn't tell you what the items you're buying are. And beneath all of that is a perfectly functional and otherwise pretty fun little racing game. The controls are tight and responsive for a game of this ilk, steering, braking, accelerating, and eventually gear shifts once you purchase a manual stick all work well enough as they should, which is good because as you progress in the game, the driving gets more intense, and getting all the good shit isn't enough to win. Sometimes it takes some slick driving and good firm control over your Lambo will let you drive slick. You can't customize your button mapping, but what's there is perfectly adequate and suits the main game as well as the 2-player split screen mode, which is a thing you could do if you have a second player around. Lamborghini American Challenge is a visibly passable little game, that is to say, not the most visually impressive racer on the Super Nintendo, but what it offers gets the job done admirably enough. The cars look like cars, the roads are rather plain looking, the various character mugshots are just there, but the backdrops look rather nice, the frame rate is solid, the map and intermissions are laid out clearly enough, and the hills and slopes are accomplished smoothly enough with the Mode 7 effects. I do wish the shop told me what they were selling instead of just showing a bunch of pictures. Some of the stuff may be obvious, but for those of us who aren't car people, these are just random pictures with prices and stuff. Otherwise, a perfectly fine but unremarkable looking game. Ditto on the sound. You've got some adequate engine sounds, some light bumps, and a small pool of musical bits that has some energy to it. Honestly, I've got less to say on the sound than I do the rest of the game bits, so yeah. Sorry. Overall, Lamborghini American Challenge is a competent little racing game that's quite fun for a lark. Not quite as top tier or Top Gear or Lotus even, but it holds its own admirably enough, and it has a couple ideas that makes it somewhat unique. So if you like racing games of this ilk or just want proof that Titus's game catalog is not just a bunch of turds, Lamborghini American Challenge is one worth checking out. Happy New Year. Bye.